Yes, guys, Teachers from the Hood back again, episode 3.
Done now.
Hope you guys are well.
Yeah.
We got Poet RS.
Come on.
And we got AB back
Come
again.
on.
Yeah.
Another discussion. Remember, guys, what we have here, we discuss many teaching items. We talk about other things like teacher tips. We also discuss things that are useful for students and parents. So, guys, remember, stay tuned in and please hit the like button, subscribe, smash that notification bell, guys, so you can get the next episode immediately for you. So, guys, without further ado, I'm going to be looking at the topic that one of the teachers wanted me to discuss, right? And I want to just touch on that just to make sure I got it.
Outsider opinions. I love it.
Which is, why are thousands of teachers leaving the profession on a monthly basis? And to be honest, it could be even weekly. But why are teachers leaving in droves?
Stress. It's stress. Like, we are so overworked. It's ridiculous how overworked we actually are, to the point where we're teaching on autopilot now. There's so many teachers out there that have gone in and they love it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to change these kids' lives. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then the workload hits them. And it's like, I don't have time to inspire because you want me to crunch numbers and do data and input this and like make all sorts of things. And I would say 60% of those things do not.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It doesn't equate to the child's growth
At all.
It equates to a systematic formula. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you start to realize that teaching isn't actually teaching anymore.
Not at all.
I think that's the problem, is a lot of teachers come into it with great intentions and they want to really just help. It's about helping the students.
Yeah.
Facts.
And I think that's how I came into it, because I wanted to help and I wanted to help the students progress and be a role model. But the thing is, you're right. What hits you is the data and the paperwork, which, you know, in some ways, some of it is unnecessary.
So unnecessary.
And a lot of it can be done smarter rather than just harder.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think, AB?
The reason why we leave is because we're tired and we're undervalued. You know what I mean? Like you guys said, we do so much things, but we're just undervalued. Like, is an expectation. And if you do come up with a new creative way to make your workload easier for you, it's almost like it's frowned upon. You know
because
what I mean?
they never come up with it. That's why.
They never come up with it as well. Like you said, that you know, we've all come in with this, you know, great idea, with this energy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all civil servants. What is a servant? It's to help, isn't it? It's to provide. And I always tell my form, so as a teacher, my service is to help you. You know what I mean? But the way teaching has been transformed and moved and I don't know, evolved into, we can't help the kids no more. We can't even help ourselves. What we're doing is just helping the school name, the brand.
That's it. It's a brand. It's a business. It's a business.
Yeah, and it is, because how many times have you seen in your school, in the years that you've been teaching, there's always that one child that you try to help, you try to force, but because they can't have their I don't know, their story of how I influenced this child, they just leave them to the wayside and fail that child.
Yep.
It's the same thing, yeah. And then, so whenever you put in your hard work, it's a bit demoralizing.
But this is the thing, though. Like, we are putting in the hard work, but it's not reciprocated
At all.
So if I'm giving you 100% and you're only giving me 20, after a certain amount of time, and we're talking longevity, after a certain amount of time, I'm going to realize that, why am I giving you the extra 80%?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to meet you with 20. But as soon as you meet them with 20, oh, you're not working hard enough.
At all. It's a thankless job.
It is 100%.
I think it's important also just to stress that, you know, we need, I mean, let's say for the listeners, so what are the solutions then? I mean, we know the problems, and this is the problem, right? These are the problems, lots of problems, but how can we address the solutions to this? Because from my side is, I'm looking at government level, let's say, and the government needs to show care towards the teacher, because it's the teacher that is going to show the care to the student, right?
Yep.
So how can you show that? By paying them well.
Yeah.
Because they need to be paid well. Look how expensive it is to live.
Facts.
I mean, I said it last time. I mean, teachers are sharing rooms in houses. They haven't got the space to be able to do their marking, let alone, anything else. So they haven't got the space to work
Yeah.
or live, let's say. So if you can't live in for a profession and get paid adequately, not even like amazingly, adequately, then that's one reason I'm feeling like they're leaving. So pay and the conditions, like if you got a class full of students, because you're not building more classes, you're having to cram more students in a room.
Yeah.
So you're spread across a lot of students, which you can't give that individual support fully. You can't, because you're just one, right?
Yeah.
So that's an issue, because then you're burning out. Because you're going across and we've got individual plans for the students. You've got to make sure you meet the target. You're going to burn out. That's just normal. So my thing is, what are the solutions? I'm looking at government level. We need to be paid way better. Like it's a great job, right? Morally, it's fantastic.
But the thing is, like, as much as you say morally it's fantastic, because it is, but the schools themselves are demoralizing us. So, like, certain teachers have even come to me and said that they're a bit confused, they're a bit skewered, because their morals tell them that they want to do X, Y, and Z. But when they get into the classroom, it's like it's a totally different person. They don't want to do X, Y, and Z no more, because it's like the school has just drained them. They're like an energy vampire. The school has just drained all their morals. So now they're conflicted. And when you're conflicted and you're confused, you don't perform well.
That's down to the school ethos, isn't it?
100%.
It's this is how we do things. If you don't do it our way, then it is wrong. And I disagree with that, because you're teaching children that it's only one way to do something like that. And the same thing if you're forcing teachers, because as you said, we're here to inspire. We're here to leave a stamp and a mark on the child.
Yes.
If we cannot do that as individuals, then we've automatically failed them. Then we've already failed them.
So that's the main word, individual.
Yeah.
Right? One, like, you're talking about a government level, right? I think first of all, government needs to change the curriculum. Sort it out, please. It's too old.
Very old.
Brother, me and my missus the other day was watching like old 90s films. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Old 90s films. How is the school system older than that?
Do you know
how am I seeing how am I seeing kids wearing shirts and dungarees?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Not cutting you. Do you know one thing that annoys me about the school system, especially when it comes to Black History Month?
Hey.
Why is it that you have painted the whole of Black history as American history? Because it's just American History Month that we're learning. It's not about Black history or whatever, or any type of history as well. Even in RE, obviously there's the 6 big religions, but really truly we only focus on 2. But there's many more. Like, if you want to have this broad curriculum that we claim that we have, you actually have to open it up. There's different. They got Sikhs in the classroom, Muslims in the classroom, different other religions, different other people. But we only focusing on, how can I say, what's in right now.
So can we say that part of it then, touching on what you just said, the reason, also because we're tying it in with why teachers are leaving, is because we have an outdated system, curriculum, which is not even the students, maybe some can't relate to it
at all.
Because if they can't relate to something, then obviously that's going to cause issues in the classroom as well.
Facts.
And
so modernize it, right? For example, like me as a poet now, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't take inspiration from Shakespeare and Othello and the olden day poets.
No, we don't.
I understand them and I pay homage to them, but they don't inspire me. But you're still teaching that to children as if like it's a modern day thing, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? And then just touching back what we're saying, why teachers are leaving, right? Not only the pay for the government, the curriculum, right? But also the micromanaging from schools.
Too much.
You even said it yourself, AB, the individual.
Yeah.
The individual can't teach like an individual. We are
Not at all.
all different types of teachers with all different types of momentums and rare tear and whatever.
Different types of life experience.
Different types of life experience. So why am I teaching like someone who has no life experience? It don't make no sense. I know I've got more than you, so let me implement that into my system. Let me implement it into my classroom. Do you know what I'm saying
I'll
to you?
tell you one thing. This is when, my NQT year, where when I come in, I'm the brash guy, I'm creative, and it's so funny. I almost wanted to slap the guy. Almost, but I'm not a violent guy, no. So they
Yeah, I'm
spent.
glad you added that one in there.
First day
I
of
was
the
a
job,
bit
man's
worried.
acting like gladiator.
I was like, whoa.
No.
Like
But
day one.
Man coming there with the
But-
Wakanda trials.
like you said, I've come in as an individual,
Mm.
but you know you have to fit into the school system. I understand that we all sing from the same hymn sheet,
Mm.
but then why is it that later in my reflections you're telling me, oh, we want to see your personality, but yet you spent months,
Yeah.
almost years trying to
Structuring you already.
yeah, and then
Bro,
as you can
they're
tell,
trying to strip the you from you, bro.
exactly, yeah, and that was it. And then from that day, I said, you know what, I'm doing me. As soon as I did that,
Facts.
my teaching got better,
Mm.
my results got better. You know what I mean?
Because you're being true to
I'm
yourself.
being true, and then that's what I will. That's what I will explain to all teachers. Always be yourself.
Facts.
You cannot, because one, the kids will know. You know, you're not being authentic.
They'll pick up.
They'll pick
Bro,
it up.
Kids can smell fakery from
Fakery
a
from
mile
the
off, and from that moment,
Yeah.
behavior management,
And then
best be on game.
Literally linking back to what you said is that when you're not yourself, you don't feel encouraged to teach. You don't feel yourself. You'll end up hating the job.
That's
And
right.
then that is when you'll eventually say, you know what, I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
I think I'll touch on a few different things from my experience. I think the how we survive, the survivors of the game, we
Yeah.
call it, the people that have come through years and they're good, and they're able to get through it. They're the ones that could help. So I believe that new teachers, when they come in, they should have like a mentor, someone who can guide them, talk to them, and show them the way of how it should work. Like, don't take work home. Remember, don't minimize it. You know, make sure you sleep. You got to give them tips because this is survival tips.
Do you know what? I agree with you, but I think that the new people that come in must choose their own mentor.
I was about to say that.
Because certain schools will pick the mentors of the people that they like, and they ain't necessarily the good.
I don't think
teachers.
that should be chosen by them. It's a bit like unions. So the unions are not chosen by schools. I think there should be another body, like another body.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. See, now we're cooking.
Yeah. So another body, we call them the well-being mentor. It could be anything, any
Yeah,
name, right? So they're the ones that they're not chosen by schools. They're chosen by another body, but they're known to be like good, listen, patient, you know, for the
Yeah.
new ones. Because if we can retain teachers, we're gonna stop this cycle of new teachers coming in the classroom, having a lack of consistency in the classroom, because that's a big problem as well.
Yeah.
So I believe a mentor coming in, okay, give him a few tips. This is how you should do. Remember, minimize the workload. You know, all the tips that you start off so you can start strong. And then also remember, school is a shock at the beginning when you start. Like, it's a shock because, you know, you're coming in morally, like, I want to help everyone. and then you like realize that I need to help myself
It's true.
because I'm drowning.
And the thing is, like, your experience of school is you as a child.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
That's true.
And the way like certain kids used to bully up the teachers,
That's
and then now you're a teacher. It's like, what? Karma's gonna hit me
Yeah.
soon.
That's the
you
first
know?
week. I'm speaking. I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah.
So now you're right. I definitely think the well-being, definitely,
Right?
definitely.
And there's a combination of guilt that we go through, you know, like guilt of, I need to do the marking by blah, blah. You feel guilt.
Yeah.
So it's about how to manage yourself and your work, and also not to be afraid to ask for help,
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a big one.
right?
Yes.
But even depends on who, because there's people that will make you feel like
Yeah, but you need to know you're going to the right person
Yeah,
as well
yeah,
for
yeah.
help. But that fear,
that,
you know,
that comes over time, though.
yeah, you got to choose the right person.
Do you know what I mean?
But that could be the mentor as well.
yeah.
But let's say that fear, though, you know, that festering fear. Gosh, that's the one that you have to break through and ask for help, because, you know, it's so hard to, like, the ego again.
It's the
put your
ego.
ego to the side.
Yeah, facts. It's the ego, and it's pride as well.
Pride,
because,
yeah.
Pride.
because also we live in an era where we think that getting it wrong means that you failed completely. We're not seeing failure as hurdles anymore, and it's the same with the students. Like we said before, students are so scared to get things wrong because if they get things wrong, oh, you're a failure, you're a this, you're a that. No, just listen, you got it wrong,
But
move on.
Exactly.
That's
You know what I'm saying to you?
but look, when we do GCSEs, that's what we tell the kids. You have to study hard because this is your final chance, this is your thing, and we embed it in the kids that, listen, if I don't get my GCSEs now, I'm a failure. That's why a lot of these kids give up by December, because for them it's better to say that I failed because I didn't try
Yeah.
than to say that I tried my hardest but I still failed. You know what I mean? And it's more of a self-defense mechanism that they use.
Yeah,
Facts.
that
You know
one.
what I mean?
That one will come at episode 4.
Episode 4 my bad, yeah. But it's the same thing with teachers.
Amy speaking into the future now, boy.
But it's the same thing with teachers.
It's true.
The same way that I'm thinking, oh, I have to, you know, and they put so much stress on us. You have to get this. You have to get a certain kid to get this grade, because the first thing they show us is the kids' megs or expected grade,
Yeah.
and they judge your teaching based on that.
Yes, we got this overload of data.
Yeah,
Yes.
And to be honest, that can play on your mind, because when you already know that this particular student should be getting certain grades, should be, because you know that's how, like, that's the level they're at.
yeah.
But the thing is, that's pressure though.
So much pressure.
So much pressure on the teacher, because they're thinking, okay, I need to make sure but the thing is, it shouldn't be about I need to make sure. The onus should be on the student,
Yeah.
not on the teacher to make sure they get it. It's
How-
not their grade.
How is it that for a teacher to up a pay scale, so you upping a pay scale is totally reliant on other people? It's not actually reliant on you.
Yeah.
It's reliant on other people, right? Who have no life experience, yeah, who are still very young-minded,
Very.
right? Who haven't really developed yet, but you upping your pay scale is dependent solely on them, right?
Yeah.
So you go through these extra miles within yourself, right? Even if you're just teaching for the money, which ain't even all that anyway, but you're jumping all these extra hoops and you're going through all of these extra miles to give these kids what they want, and some of them just have bad days. You know what I mean? Or some of them act up, and there's reasons why all of these
And
things are happening.
sometimes there are troubles they go through. There are things they go through
There's things that they go
outside
through.
of school,
Yeah. So much.
which is out of our control as teachers
Yeah.
as well.
Of course, bro. Like I remember, I had one student now. Yeah, wasn't the best student. Like if you look at the megs were quite low, whatever have you, right? But he loved design technology, loved it, right? And then one day, unfortunately, yeah, his mum passed away. I didn't see this kid for about a month.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and, you know, eyes are sunken, quiet, don't want to do work, this, that, and that. But obviously, I know the situation of what's going on, so I'm giving the boy time, giving him time. You know, the work was minimal, right? For me, it wasn't about teaching him. For that month until he started to like sort of come back to life again and everything else.
It's more about supporting him.
I didn't teach him a thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. I supported him. And now I know personally from my own experience what death is like and right? So for me, it was a case of supporting him, making him understand that I'm there and this, that, and the other, and that, you know, things can be okay, right? It wasn't about the work. However, the data showed that he's a failing kid.
That's it.
So it was just every report that he got was below standards. So now your mum has died, yeah. You don't really know how to cope with it, and now your dad at home is getting reports that, you know, you're below standards. What does that even mean?
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying to you? So all it looks like is that this is a bad child. That's all it looks like. This is a bad child,
Yeah.
but he's not. So we need to understand, and we need to come away from all of this data, because I'm sorry, but like crunching all of these numbers and doing all this admin, that's not really part of my job.
Yeah. It's not teaching.
Not to the extent that we're doing it.
No, because the thing is, when people come into the job, they just want to help and they just want to teach.
Exactly.
But we just want to teach, like, you know, impart the knowledge, right?
Exactly.
Now, like I said, we talk about schools in general because we've all taught in different schools, fortunately, which is good. But we're talking about how schools in general are having to do these things, which, you know, most of them are similar in that way. And data is massive now.
So massive. That's what they because you know what, data is used to say, look how good we are.
Measure.
Yeah.
They want to measure.
Yeah.
Measuring
regardless
success.
of what you had to do to get there, and regardless of how, you know, the whole school runs day by day, as long as the data shows that, oh look, we're all right, we're good, then they're peachy. They don't really care about what happens going on. What goes on inside the school. The governing body doesn't care what goes on inside the school, because you can have an excellent school with, you know, 100% attendance, you know, 100% punctuality. You know, the kids are, you know, wanting to learn. You know, they're gaining new skills, but on the day they do bad on their, you know, test or whatever.
Yeah.
And then because we send that off to whoever we send it off to, we're getting Ofsted. We're worried. Oh, what's going on? The kids are failing because these numbers say that, you know, they're failing, but the numbers don't tell you that, oh, little Timmy's, I know, mum died, whatever. It's not saying that this child came from this certain home. You know what I mean?
So blame at the doorstep, basically.
Yeah.
which seems to happen a lot. There seems to be this blame culture on the doorstep of teachers, which also is this added pressure. And this is the problem as well. Like, people come into the profession, they're all happy, like they want to help students.
Yeah.
But then they realize there's this toxic element that is in there where it seems to be just about measuring quality, measuring performance, measuring quality. But, this job that we do, which is a moral job, right? There shouldn't be so much measuring the performance too much of the teacher. Yes, they should teach well. That's like standard because we all strive to do that.
Of course.
But when the scrutiny is too much, like, and it's a push and it's consistent, like scrutinize you all the time, you're kind of like, when's the I need to watch my, you get this kind of fear inside, like you don't know, you're getting paranoid.
It's true.
You get paranoid.
But that's been like that since the teacher's training. I remember when I was doing my teacher's training, for every lesson that I taught, I had to write down three things that I did in that lesson for every single teacher standard. It's impossible to imply every single teacher standard into every single lesson. Yeah. It's physically,
that is so true,
and emotionally
tick
and
the
mentally.
Box for each of these standards in
the
one
boxes,
lesson.
In one lesson, I think I did like 10 minutes worth of teaching and then 40 minutes worth of tick boxing. Do you know, what is that? And what are the kids gaining from that?
And do you know what? It's like they want you to follow the system. First of all, most of the numbers that we crunch relates to maths and English. So what about all the other subjects that don't follow maths and English or don't fall into maths and English?
They don't exist, brother.
But yeah, they want you to conform your lesson and change your lesson so it can fit that structure. I'm like, it's like you said, it's impossible. You cannot do that. Especially if you do a creative subject. To do art, you can't learn systematically what to do. You have to experiment. You have to experiment. You have to do it. You have to feel it. You know what I mean? Art is not a logical
so
subject.
when you base it on, let's say, when you base the targets, let's say, on core subjects, and you're basing it into the other subjects, it's not a fair level playing field.
It doesn't correlate. Do you know how many times I have to tell parents your child is not failing? Their attainment grade is based on their maths and English. He has a very high maths attainment grade. It's a very, you know what I mean? Because a lot of kids are like, oh, what's going on? They're worried. I've said, and I even told you, I said, the way music is structured, we can't give you a full grade because we're still doing it. The course is not finished. But obviously parents, they don't know that. They don't really understand the curriculum of each subject.
Because it's fractured, bruv. It's like I say it like this, if you're going to teach a broken system, you're going to get a broken child. It's as simple as that. If you teach a broken system, you're going to get a broken child. So we do need to tackle it at government level, right? But remember, schools are now becoming academies, and they're getting that private money. They're getting that business money.
So they can do what they want to do.
So a lot of them don't follow.
And you have to justify the money.
Right, you have to justify the money through performances. Right? That's where the data comes in. So a lot of them aren't following that, like, as much government rules as like state schools and whatever have you. Those schools and those academies need to understand, right, that what they're doing is they're seeing the kids as employees. And they're teaching them to become employees, right? That needs to stop.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Because little Johnny ain't no burger flipping in McDonald's.
Exactly, no.
Do you know what I'm saying? So little Johnny wants to be a musician. So guide little Johnny to be a musician. Don't guide him to be an employee. And this is the thing, like, because the data doesn't see the individual, we're not treating them as individuals. So when teachers are coming into the profession now and they want to inspire and everything else, and they realize, hold up, I have to treat this whole class as if it's one person. Right? It undermines everything that we've come into the profession to do. It undermines us. And once you're undermined, you don't feel valued. Once you don't feel valued, you leave.
And what businesses also do is they're known for cost cutting. So how they cost cut, because they want to make money, right? It's a business. So what you do is some of the experienced teachers cost quite a lot of money. So, you know, it's better to bring the cheaper, I would say, let's call it that, but the less expensive teachers to come through, but they'll be less experienced. A good school always has a great, rich mix of less experience and good experience.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a perfect scenario.
Yeah.
But I want to just very quickly, because I want to wrap it up now, this episode. So can you give me some tips? We know the reasons why there's so many leaving the profession, but can we just offer some solutions on how, just we've talked about it anyway, but, you know, just a few bullet points, if you like, of how we can solve the issue or try to solve it.
Go first, because I'm coming controversial on this one.
Give teachers time.
Give teachers time.
To grow, to build up their own teaching ethos, so they can work along the school's teaching ethos. Give them time to, you know, give the children time. You know, as I said, they're not numbers. They're actually individual people. They need to understand. I think the governing bodies as well need to, you know, stick their nose out of the school's business as well, because that's also what's affecting retention. Because look, I've worked in a school where a head teacher didn't follow, you know, the plan, and they booted them out. The first school that I worked at, I went through 3 different head teachers.
Jesus.
All for different things. And and the funny thing is, they were comparing my school in a certain area to another school in a certain area, because they're both of the same academy. Now keep in mind, the school that I was working at, low work income, you know, so, you know, poverty, crime is much more higher compared to the school that's in the same academy in a different area, much more affluent area.
So you can't compare, really.
Different kids, different caliber of children, different type. Because they say, because this worked here, because I think the school was good and it went into outstanding. Oh, because it worked here, because it works with these bunch of kids, because it worked with these kids with different, and most of the kids, as I said, they lived in a nice area. So a lot of them, when you speak to them, I've got a tutor, I have to go tuition, this and that. Compared to the kids that were in that first school, where, like I said, probably single parent household, most of them were PP kids, FSM kids, you know what I mean? Free school meals. So the dynamic was very different.
Yeah.
You cannot compare. You can't
compare.
So what else would you say to help retain? Because that's what it is, to stop teachers leaving. What else would you say to help retain?
Get the governing bodies out of the school. Let the school have their own ethos. Let the school build up. Give them time. I think we need to reduce the amount of scrutiny of number crunching as well. So because we don't have this much data, how do you know? You can know by the end of year 11. Like, the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? Let us do what we have to do. When you're less stressed, because I've seen it in my own eyes. Kids that are doing well in lesson, getting all the questions right, as soon as it comes to exam time or whatever, they're fumbling. You know, they're sweating, they're forgetting everything. If you reduce the stress and reduce the pressure of these certain, you know, assessment dates or due dates, I guarantee children do much better when they're more relaxed.
That's good.
True.
That's and the same thing with teachers. Less scrutiny will be like everyone wants to wake up happy going to work.
Facts.
You know what I mean? If we're waking up thinking, why am I here? What's going on?
Like a sloth.
Yeah.
That's true, though. I mean, just think about it. A happy teacher is happy students, because if they're feeling good, you know what? No matter what happens, that radiates. That they'll see it
so much.
So if someone's stressed or agitated, the students will see this agitation. You know,
because also when you're teaching, you're projecting.
That's right.
So not only are you projecting the information to the kids, you're projecting your own feelings at that moment. And if you're stressed, you're projecting those feelings onto the child,
and they'll be stressed as well.
And you're less tolerant and less patient.
Oh, that one. Especially with that kid that needs patience as well. Because, you know, there's some children that they won't understand it the first time. And I remember, I think we touched on it a bit, like, I think you said it, learn how you learn.
Yeah. So what were you gonna say, as
Radar? Listen. Number one, as a teacher, you need to understand that your classroom is yours. Forget Ofsted, forget numbers, forget SLT, forget people coming into your room. Your classroom is yours. You make it your own. You make it your own environment, and you will teach these kids the way you want to teach them. Don't worry about no system that tells you to crunch this and that, right? You teach them how you want to teach them, because ultimately, exactly what you were saying, you lost a bit of you. Do you understand? Yeah. If you teach them the way you want to, they will thrive. They will thrive because they're getting you. They're not getting some RoboCop. They're getting you. I would also say that like schools need to calm down with the data. It doesn't reflect the individual. It really doesn't. It's a holistic view of what you perceive somebody is based on maths and English.
Yeah.
It's not the
It's
student.
very surface level. It's not deep enough to look at all the facets to do with the individual student anyway, whether what's going on outside of school, you know, that kind of thing that we touched on.
Exactly.
So it's not so clear, is it?
It's not clear cut at all. So I'd say half the data that we have to do. And I would also say one thing for teachers. And I like the mentoring thing that you was talking about. I think that's a very good thing, the mentoring program. And I think the mentoring program should come from what's it called? The unions. I think because if you know we have union reps in schools.
Yeah.
So let the unions have union mentors in schools as well. You know, I think that'd be amazing. I think that'd be absolutely amazing. And I also think as teachers, I think we need to have a timeout session. I remember the first school that I was working at, they kind of stopped this just before I got in, which I thought was a bit annoying. But they had something called ER, which is everybody read. So they had a specific bell that would go off at like a certain time. I think it was like, I don't know, like 11 something. But they had a specific bell that would go off, right? And everybody, teachers, students, everybody just dropped what they're doing and they just read their book. They just read their book, and it was for about 20 minutes or so, something like 15-20 minutes, whatever have you, right? But in that moment of time, nothing mattered. It was just you and your book. And
what is beautiful about that is it not only distracts you from the work that you're already doing, takes your mind off it, but it takes you into the story of the book anyway. It takes you on a journey, takes you in a movie, whatever it is, and it puts you in another place. Which sometimes, as usual, we need to be in feel like we're in another place.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
you know,
it was proven that after those 20 minutes, kids were calmer. They were more relaxed. There was less like aggro in the classroom, less behavior management. Teachers were more chilled out. Do you know what I mean? That 20 minutes during the day, it was perfect.
I'm just going to end this with the things that I kind of touched on as well, which is, like I said, a well-being kind of idea, mentor. And to be honest, the facts are that teachers aren't being paid and too well right now. And, you know, they haven't been paid for a long time. Hence why we've had strikes, right? Yeah. So there is definitely merit in increasing teachers' pay, and it's vital if we're going to bring teachers into the profession. Because look, inevitably, it's not about just moral. It's about teachers look at how much they're going to get paid and if they can live.
Exactly.
So pay and conditions are massive. And you guys touched on all the things in school, which are also vital and important. So guys, thank you so much again for this. This is a fantastic episode.
Done now.
Yeah.
And I'll see you guys in the next one. Please hit the like, subscribe, smash that notification bell. And I'll see you on the next one.
Come on.